But yeah, we got to talk more about the news I saw after the Duskbloods reveal, right, at the Nintendo Direct. So I posted my reaction to YouTube, and obviously I was like very elated and everything about how FromSoftware are working on a new IP. And then of course I read the news about how, I don't want to use the word unfortunately, but the news about how it's going to be a PvPvE. So player versus environment. So it's online only, it's multiplayer focused. You jump in with a group of 8 people and you're all versing each other, but also all the enemies and the world that's kind of stacked against you in general. And yeah, naturally, a lot of people are not fond of that, myself included to an extent, because that's just not the genre for me. And I think a lot of people expected Duskbloods to be their next big single player IP, especially with the way they were kind of presenting everything in that trailer. It was very, Soulsborne trailer coded. It seemed like the trailer for something you would see for a new single player title, right? All their trailers in the past have historically been presented like that from that genre. And so we were all really excited, right? Literally everyone, like not a single soul thought it would be something like Night Rain. Like Night Rain was very clearly advertised, even from the very first trailer that we saw, as some kind of a multiplayer experience, right? Even if we didn't immediately think Night Rain was going to be multiplayer focused from the Game Awards reveal. In hindsight, when you go back and look at it, all the signs of it being something multiplayer coded are there, right? The fact that you launch it in the map with a bird and you're fighting alongside all these other players against a variety of bosses and stuff. It had gameplay, right? Duskbloods didn't have any of that. It just showed the world building and it made you go, oh my goodness, this is Miyazaki's next big thing. That's another thing. Miyazaki's directing it. He's never directed a multiplayer-centric experience before. We mainly associate this legend with all of these beloved single-player worlds that he's created. So everyone and their mothers thought it was going to be something like Bloodborne, a spiritual successor to Bloodborne. And while it largely still is, I mean, it's very clearly got Bloodborne written all over it. It's not ultimately a Bloodborne 2 spiritual successor game in this context of the genre, right? Obviously a very different beast altogether. It's not going to feel like Bloodborne when you play it, but some of the vibes and aesthetics are very similar. I'm a lot less enthused now, but what I will say is that, and I wrote a comment on my reaction video that I uploaded to YouTube, and I pinned it at the very top as an update that I saw the news and stuff. And the gist of what I wrote was that I'm still looking forward to the game. Obviously not going to be convincing me to go out and buy a Switch 2. Definitely not going to be the case anymore. It being locked to that platform in general in the first place and only ever on that platform is kind of a bummer. But I was willing to literally shell out for a Switch 2 given my initial thoughts about the game, assuming it was going to be a single player title. At this point, I'm not going to, obviously, because the genre doesn't appeal to me, but I'm not writing it off completely. I'm still going to look forward to it because Miyazaki and FromSoftware have yet to disappoint, right? Between that game and Night Rain, I'm looking forward to those. I definitely will be playing Night Rain, obviously, come May 30th, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm going to go in with an open mind, right? I may not play the game on launch because I will probably not be getting a Switch 2 for it unless something else is announced that comes out before the game that really makes me want to go out and buy one. But I don't see myself getting a Switch 2 anytime soon in the next 2 to 3 years unless that big game announcement happens that really speaks to me personally, like the next big Zelda or what have you. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Ultimately, I feel like it is a little bit bizarre, and I kind of mentioned this too, that FromSoftware are deciding to release 2 multiplayer-focused experiences back-to-back, especially when Night Rain hasn't even come out yet, to give them the data they need to kind of see if another one is worth launching, especially when it's going to be on a console that hasn't even hit the market yet, right? And one that's pretty expensive at that too. So I just find the whole situation a little bit weird from a business perspective as well, for sure. But yeah, we'll hope for the best. I want to be optimistic about it because FromSoftware is still my favorite company in the business right now, hands down. So I'm going to look forward to it. We'll see what it shapes up to be. I'll see a lot of gameplay of it and stuff, but yeah, probably not going to be something I play day one, if I ever do at all, that is. I actually can't even guarantee if I'll ever play the game, but looking forward to see what it's like and what experiences people have with it. This is something that should be a little bit reassuring. There was an interview that Miyazaki did after this news came out where he basically assured everyone that don't worry, this is just me trying something different and single player games are still on the table. A lot of people I've noticed, they go the doom and gloom route. They assume the worst when they see news like this, and they're like, oh my god, this means like FromSoftware are cooked. They're done making single player games. The world's gonna end. Oh my goodness. I think everyone needs to take a chill pill. I think they're still cooking single player games. They made like, what, like they sold 20 to 30 million copies of Elden Ring, right? This is a company that in the past has historically been known to be working on more than 2 projects at a time. And with 30 million copies sold of Elden Ring, they are definitely working on a 3rd game on top of Night Rain and Duskbloods. And you can bet yourself that that 3rd game is probably something more in line with what we're used to, and is that single player game that, you know, everyone wants. I love that he wants to experiment with genres that he doesn't usually dabble in. I like personally feel like FromSoftware have more than earned their flowers and their right to kind of experiment after Elden Ring, right? I would love for them to just do those kind of games over and over and over again, right? The Elden Rings, the Soulsborns, all of that. But at the same time, you don't want things to just like be devoid of originality at the end and like creativity, and you want the creative juices to keep flowing, especially in an industry where a big problem is seeing a lot of like repetitiveness, a lot of companies just going down the route of copy pasting a whole lot of things they've done in the past. I think it's incredibly important for things to stay as fresh as they possibly can. I kind of like that, even though these things aren't for me personally, things like Night Rain and Duskbloods, that they are something different, and that they are things that are being done by a company, by a director, maybe with the exception of Night Rain because Miyazaki's not involved with that one, but my point still remains, by a company that's known for otherwise doing exceptional work. Like, I have no reason to be really, you know, dour or dejected over the fact that they're working on something different when they delivered nothing but amazing experiences to me in the past. But regardless of what happens, a hunter must hunt. So we shall continue hunting.